What is good, guys? It's Casey the Dream here, and we're here with chapter 20. After this chapter, we only have one chapter to go, so I'm knocking this out of the park. But I oh hell no, I don't whoop that, whoop that. Okay. And we're here with coping. This is Mark's point of view, because also, if you know the other chapter, that Jack basically died, but basically not either. But hey, you'll see in the chapter in the sequel if you want to read that. So I felt Mark his body go limp, and I pulled away. Something was wrong, terribly wrong. He wouldn't have said sorry if something wasn't wrong. I laid him down softly onto the couch, looking over his body, panicked. I never actually turned to anyone before, but something tells me that's not going to change. He was acting far too strange. Something had to be up, and I shouldn't have complied to his demands. This, but his goddamn blood, looking over to it as it dripped from the puncture wound of his neck, and then noticed something far too familiar. It was odorless. Now that was definitely abnormal. I walked into the guest room to find Angie looking at something through the window. Angelina asked, knocking the door. She turned around, wiping stray tears from her eyes. Yes, she asked. Her voice crackled. What's wrong? I asked. You killed that girl in the forest back there. I just got scared that you'd return to some old habits. What's up with you? Why aren't you with Sheen? She asked. I looked at the ground. Oh my god. Well, I started. I don't, but I really had no idea where to go with my words. Mark, don't tell me you tried something stupid. Angeline stopped. Her tears were no longer gone. Were long. No longer. Her tears were long gone, and she was back to her strict usual self. I closed my mouth, and she pushed me out of the way and made her way to the living room. Justine Sheen on the couch. Remember how mad you were when I turned you? She asked. She asked, thinking I was crazy. Well, he was pleading, begging, also saying things about an eternity together. I said, smiling at the fact he wanted to spend an eternity with me. Well, you should get started on the form since you're his sire now. I'll make sure everything is alright with him, she sighed. I nodded and went to the office and had downstairs getting the documents and need I would need to fill out. I came back an hour later to a terrifying Angeline and Charlotte Sheen. Mark, I don't think you need those forms anymore, she whispered. I looked dried blood to see dried blood on the side opposite me, so I dashed over to get a better look. My gripped the couch tight as I realized right away that was a wolf. It was a wolf bite. Not being able to formulate words, formulate any words, I simply sat in my armchair and looked at his body, letting it sink in. Mark, what are you doing? Angeline asked, concerned, waiting. I stated, Mark, you know very well that one can't can't be both. He said, he's not waking up, Angela said. I knew that. I just wasn't going to accept the fact I couldn't accept the fact. I couldn't accept the fact that he was dead. I whispered, shaking my head, looking at Sheen, at something that I promised myself I wouldn't let happen. Happened actually. I've broken a lot of promises I made to myself in the past. I broke my promise not to fall in love again. I broke my promise to make sure nothing happened to Sheen. And I broke my promise to never cry. After a century and a half, I maybe had once again let tears escape me as I made my way to my lover's body. Why did you give up so much for me? I asked, mostly to myself, but secretly I hoped he would answer me, and that it had all been some terrible nightmare. I knew it wasn't a nightmare though, and I didn't have to pinch myself to find out. The pain in my heart, shattered into a million pieces, was much more effective to ensure that I was in fact in a reality where wolves take everyone I love. Everyone I love. I don't want to get you any more wound up, but I think he did what he did because he knew how you felt about werewolves, and he couldn't bear having you feel that way about him. Angela said, even if he was a werewolf, I'd rather be with him than my voice cracked as I couldn't bring myself to say the one sentence I knew I had to say out loud to admit to myself. Angeline came and began rubbing my back, reminding me of how Sheen would comfort me. He's dead, I whispered, even if it wasn't loud. I am not crying. Oh, Even if it wasn't loud, it was enough to make my cry, to make me cry even more. After what felt like hours of me draining out all the water of my body could possibly process, I pulled away. I looked at him. Do you really think he'll want a funeral? I said bravely, my voice all over the place as I shift sniffled. I think he'll love one. Also, he'll want you to tell his family, she said, and I nodded. I had one last look at Sheen and smiled as good memories with him came flooding back. Sure, it's only been a couple of months. For sure we met on the wrong foot, but that didn't change how amazing every single second we had spent together was. I love you, I whispered to him, hoping he would respond, but he didn't. I sighed as I grabbed a blood bag from the road and nodded to Angeline, who simply silently agreed to take care of his body as I took care of forming his family. I warped to the college. He should have files here with some information on how to contact his family. The headmaster jumped back when I simply warped in and began checking through his cabinets. May I help you? He asked. I rolled my eyes, began to go through more files. I need Sheen William McLongan. No, that's not his name. That's not his name. McLennan. Still not his name. I don't care. Sean. Wait. Sean. Why do you keep saying Sheen? Need Sheen McLennan. Vampire cards, plus crack. Okay. I started looking at him. Well, those are classifieds. I can't just hand them out for no reason. I was like, well, if you don't want his family to be informed of his death, then by all means just sit there. I snapped, throwing my hands in the air for the word that I can't pronounce. Ice. Empathize. I knew I was crying again. And I was supposed to had never cried since a vampire cry. I suppose you never seen a vampire cry. Sorry, I just need to fulfill what he would have wanted me to do, I said, carefully choosing my words. The headmaster nodded and went to the cabinet, grabbing out a file that had expelled stamped onto it in red letters. I was smiling, remembering when he called me to move, and after he was kicked out. I thanked him and walked back to the house, getting my phone. As I began dialing the number, I heard Angeline scream. Screams followed by something crashing. I hung up the phone and rushed to the living room to see what the commotion was about. I ran to see Yami looking down into Sheen's coffin. Into the coffin Sheen was set up onto. I dashed over, pushing him away from Jack. I used a little too much force, sending him flying into a wall. That's not too much. That bitch. Jesus, he's just an overly accepted stalker in this thing, of course. Pushing him away from Jack. I used a little too much force, sending him flying into the wall. He grunted as he climbed out, just like the old days, I guess. He chuckled dryly, brushing off the dust from the drywall that had ended up on his suit. It will never be like the old days, I spat, looking back over at Jack. Would you just see what's in front of you? You've been chasing around some meatbag who's going to die and just give you some trouble. He's dead now. He's not even here anymore, Yami yelled. I whooped over behind him and I grabbed his neck, pinning him to the wall. Yeah, he isn't, and I think you had something to do with it. No, what is up with that word? I sneezed. Sneeze. I need to stop. I allowed my nails to claw into his neck. Yeah, he couldn't die, but that didn't mean we could feel pain. I looked to the fireplace and lit it with Tom Magic before dragging him over. He was screaming, trying to get out of my grip. My thumb, I was numb though. I was just on autopilot, just experienced as everything happened. I blocked out Angeline's words as I got onto the prior stance and threw the bastard into the fireplace. I felt... Okay, fireplace. I felt a grip on my arm behind me, causing me to stop, and it was somewhat warming and soft, but also cold and stubborn. Stubborny. I looked to see Angela was still in the corner of my eyes wide as she looked behind me. Yami looked just as terrified, but put him down, Mark. I heard a familiar tone. I had fallen in love. Oh, well, not in that chapter. Apparently, it's this chapter. I'd fallen in love with it. That slight iris action in that pitch, hearing my name once more in his voice was heaven. I dropped Yami and simply froze with emotion, fear, joy, hope, all of it. Why did that take me so long? I just wasn't sure how to feel or react, so I just stood there frozen. Well, guys, guess what? He is alive. Well, he might be a ghost. Who knows? Oh, it's a spooky ghost story. Nah, it's just Jack. Last chapter of this book is coming tomorrow, and depending on what you guys say, maybe a possible sequel. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. See y'all in the final chapter. We're not reading the final chapter, you know. That's the main reason we're not reading the final chapter. Anywho, as you know, one more chapter. If you want me to read the sequel next video, please like, comment, do whatever so I can... Because I really want to share this out with you guys. I know sometimes it seems like I don't, but I really do, because I like the book, and then I like other books to read. So, you know, I kind of just want to do one book at a time and whatnot. But hey, anyway. This is Casey the Dream signing out. New, subscribe, like, leave a comment. Same thing. Leave a comment, like, and all that good stuff. But it's Casey the Dream signing out. Love you lots. Bye bye.